So TNA just had another live episode, and this is very special because it's a very rare occasion where they actually go live, because usually all the episodes are taped. So with that in mind, you expect something big to happen, right? Maybe we get Team 3D because they've been building up this feud with the Hardys but haven't appeared yet. Maybe we'll see Trick Williams because he's the legitimate TNA World Champion. Hell, maybe we'll see Leon Slater because everybody loves Leon Slater. But you wanna know what we didn't get? All of what I mentioned. We didn't get one of them on the show. Yeah, sure, they made appearances backstage, but we didn't get them actually on the show. And this sucks because tonight's episode wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. Hell, one of the matches we got tonight was Matt Cardona versus Frankie Kazarian. Really? And this sucks because, it's the first time in a long time that I actually stayed up late until 2 a.m. to actually watch the show live. So with that in mind, let's run through the show, the good, the bad, and a lot of what was in the middle. So the show opens with Santino coming out, and he announces that at Bound for Glory it's going to be Mike Santana versus Trick Williams, something we pretty much already knew, but it's official now. And with that in mind, Santino has to be one of the more likable general managers, right? Because a lot of general managers in wrestling right now, they don't have personality. Santino has a lot of it, and he's actually entertaining. Like, nobody wants to see Adam Pearce come out to the ring and cut a long promo. I don't think anybody minds seeing Santino do that. Anyways, Mike Santana comes out and he cuts a whole ass promo about how he's ready to bring the TNA World Championship home, and he says that Trick Williams isn't here tonight, but if Trick Williams isn't gonna come to TNA until Bound for Glory, he's just gonna go to NXT, which is like, damn, they're really gonna save all the good stuff for this feud for NXT. I mean, it's expected, it's what's been happening. Like, TNA gets the scraps and NXT gets all the entertaining stuff. It sucks, but I'm used to it by now. But that concludes the first opening segment. Santana goes backstage where he runs into Moose. Moose encourages him and he says that he believes Santana is going to be the one to bring the championship home. When AJ Francis walks up, he's apparently on a call with Trick Williams, who says Trick Williams is gonna get his lawyer involved once again. I'm curious about that. That's something I want to see again. But then AJ Francis disses Moose, saying about how Moose had a failed NFL career, and Moose slaps back, and this sets up a match for next week, which is, yeah, fine, sure. Moose versus AJ Francis, it's gonna be a good match, but very little build towards it. All in all, a very solid opening to the show. I completely understand why they didn't have Trick Williams on the show, right? You're really trying to hammer home Trick is the bad guy, Santana is the hometown hero, he's the TNA hero who's gonna bring the championship back. I get that, but I just feel like this show and this whole rivalry would have really benefited from having Trick Williams here, especially on this live episode. But we head back to the ring where Ryan Nemeth comes out and he says that Nick Nemeth will return tonight, but not right now. And it was at this point that I got this idea in my mind that imagine the amount of heat if Nick Nemeth just didn't come back. If every week Ryan Nemeth teases it but it never happens, that would be some insane heat. Now Nick Nemeth does return later tonight, but for now Matt Cardona comes out and Matt Cardona says nobody cares about Ryan Nemeth and nobody sure as hell does care about Nick Nemeth. And that's when a light bulb goes off in Ryan Nemeth's head, because he says that Matt Cardona is just jealous. He has brother jealousy because he doesn't have a brother of its own. That's when, Matt Cardona just hits him over the head and Frankie Kazarian comes out for their match. Now the match itself was very fun, I really liked it. Ryan Nemeth kept trying to interfere and help Frankie Kazarian, but Matt Cardona kept overcoming it. But Matt Cardona did end up losing at the end. Frankie Kazarian picks up a major victory. After the match, he goes outside, he tries to get interviewed, but he doesn't like the way Gio Miller is interviewing him, so he takes over for himself and he makes the announcement he's after the International Championship and he wants a classy, real wrestler to hold it. That's when Steve Maclin comes out. Steve Maclin tries to confront him, but Frank Kazarian is not interested in any of that at all, so he just runs off. A really interesting segment. I liked it. I think it was a good build towards the International Championship. I'm finding myself quite excited for this feud. I did not like the past feud for Steve Maclin and the International Championship at all, and I'm usually conflicted on Frankie Kazarian, but for some reason I like this matchup. I feel like it could be very entertaining and it could offer something different, because Jake Something was just boring as hell and Frankie Kazarian is a major step up from that, so I'm actually excited to see how this turns out. We get a little backstage skit of the Inspiration 2 where they run over what happened last week, their major victory over Failed Influence, and that they're excited because they're now chasing the Knockouts Tag Team Championship and they're one step closer. Just a tiny little segment, but I talked about that last week. I do think they're gonna be the next Knockouts Tag Team Champions. But after this, we get the By Elegance brand celebration, where all of the By Elegance brand celebrate for Ash by Elegance being the new Knockouts champion. And I just want to say I'm very proud of Ash by Elegance, because I think nobody expected this of her once she was released from WWE, because she came in and I remember a lot of people claimed she was a Toni Storm ripoff of the old timeless Toni Storm stuff, and that's not what happened at all. And she's majorly improved over the last year or 2 years that she's been in TNA. I don't think anybody would have seen her at this position as truly one of the top stars of the Knockouts division. Like, you can't deny it, she's that good. There's champagne here, there's a whole painting made for Ash for Elegance, but you all know when things go this good, it needs to be ruined somehow. So Masha Slamovich eventually comes out and they destroy the painting, they beat up Ash for Elegance and the Elegance brand. Zaya Brookside and Laying Lee come out too, and the Inspiration come out too. So everybody's just here to dunk on Ash for Elegance major celebration, and it was all good. I really enjoyed this. I definitely feel like this needed to be on the show. This was the one thing that I think definitely deserved to be on the show. I was upset that it wasn't on last week's episode, but I completely understand why it's here and I don't judge them at all for it. But I am curious because it is announced that Ash by Elegance versus Masha Slamovich for the Women's Championship, the Knockouts Championship, will happen before Bound for Glory, and later on Indy Hartwell wins her match, she's going to Bound for Glory. So this makes me wonder, I don't believe they're going to take the belt off of Ash by Elegance just yet, so she's probably going to retain over Masha Slamovich. But then what is Masha going to do for Bound for Glory? Are they going to involve her somehow and make it a triple threat match? Seems like the easiest route to go, but who else does she really have for a feud? Like, Dani Luna and Jody Threat have their own little thing going on. Marsha Day seemingly fully involved with the Order 4 stuff. Who else really is there? Are they going to bring Tessa Blanchard back? Maybe a girl from NXT? I don't know, but it just seems like there isn't any clear direction for Masha Slamovich. After this, it is announced that both the Rascals are cleared, so Trey Miguel is gonna come back. So I wonder if that means that the Rascals are just going to go back to being Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz, or if it's gonna be a 3-man team now. I honestly want it to be a 3-man team. But we also get a backstage skit of Leon Slater talking to Santino. Yes, I know I said Leon Slater isn't on the show, but this doesn't count. I mean, he wasn't actually there. But he wants to defend the X Division Championship next week. He wants to prove why the X Division Championship has that reputation, and he wants a Fatal 4-Way match with Jake Something and both of the Rascals in it. So that's going to be an exciting match for next week. Now onto the triple threat number 1 contendership match for the Knockouts Championship at Bound for Glory. Indy Hartwell picks up a victory. I guess I could just say that pretty easily. We can go over that because I mentioned it earlier. But after a match, Dani Luna just attacks her, ruins the moment, and then that's how the segment ends. I'm very happy for Indy Hartwell, and I've seen this consensus going around that Indy Hartwell isn't as good in the ring as, you know, she's a character worker, and I agree with that. I'm constantly excited to see her matches, but they never truly wow me. And I think that's because she's such a good character worker, but TNA hasn't leaned into that a lot. Like, they haven't given her enough promo time, they haven't allowed her to be not necessarily comedic, but show her character, show how entertaining she is. And I really hope they lean into this, because with a feud with Ash by Elegance, that could be perfect. I can see a very entertaining character heavy feud there. They just need to lean into this. And then Dani Luna versus Jody Threat, I'm very excited to see the Spitfire feud, because, you know, it's something I've been waiting for a long time. And Dani Luna as the heel, it just rocks. Afterwards, Joe Henry comes out to the ring. He talks a bit before Eric Young comes out. Joe Henry talks about how Eric Young attacked him last week, and Eric Young wants a match, but Joe Henry wants it tonight, Eric Young wants it next week. So they just have to, you know, compromise, and that match is happening next week. And here's also where I'm a bit conflicted on this, because, you know, if this is how you write Joe Henry off, then, you know, I don't feel like... Okay, let's start from the beginning. Eric Young can't lose that match against Joe Henry, because Joe Henry is about to lose and Eric Young is starting this very interesting cleansing gimmick where he's cleansing TNA. So it would make a lot of sense for him to defeat Joe Henry and cleanse him from TNA. But I also don't think that Joe Henry should run out of TNA, leave TNA because of Eric Young. I feel like he needs to put someone over on his way out. And my idea is that he should put over Leon Slater, right? I think that will make a whole lot of sense. Joe Henry versus Leon Slater for the X Division Championship at Bound for Glory. Leon Slater goes over, Joe Henry leaves. I feel like that elevates Leon Slater a lot, and Joe Henry gets to leave on a pretty good match. And this isn't me trying to disrespect Eric Young, I just don't feel like he needs this as much as someone like Leon Slater or another young guy, maybe Mustafa Ali. Someone like that can really benefit more from being the one to defeat Joe Henry at a major event and send him out of TNA. But on to the main event, which is the Hardy Boys and their daughter Marsha Day versus the Order 4, which is the Great Hands and Tasha Steelz. Mustafa Ali is also another major wrestler that is absent from tonight's show, suspiciously, but at least Agent Zero is there. But the match is pretty good. I know I always say this about Hardy Boys matches, but Even if a match is ass, just the Hardys being in it for me makes it so entertaining. You guys know I'm so high on Marsha Day too, and also Jason Hotch. So, you know, this match was, even if it was ass, I can't see it. But I think the most memorable thing from this match is what happens after. So the Hardy Boys pick up a victory. Great decision. I love this. The Great Hands don't need this. Hardy Boy victories is, you know, it makes my heart so happy. So the Hardy Boys pick up the victory, but afterwards, Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth both return and they lay out the Hardy Boys. They're back. They want the tag team championships. But Nick Nemeth has apparently gone crazy because he super kicked Marsha Day too. This is the second week in a row that Marsha Day gets attacked by a dude. Like, damn girl, this needs to lead somewhere, right? She needs to get revenge on some dude. Obviously, I like intergender matches, but I'm not necessarily advocating for it. But this definitely has to lead to some sort of intergender match, right? Regardless, as cool as that moment was and as hyped as I am to see Nick Nemeth back, I don't know how I feel about this at all, because clearly Nick Nemeth is going to be in a major match at Bound for Glory. But I don't want it to be the Hardys versus the Nemeths versus Team 3D. I don't want it to be a triple threat match. I want it to be the Hardys versus the Nemeths. And if the Nemeth brothers versus the Hardys happens before Bound for Glory, then what major match do you really have left for the Nemeths? Because I don't want to see them go up against the Rascals. I am tired of Rascal matches, to be honest with you. So I'm not sure where this is gonna go, and I'm not necessarily excited for the most clear direction. Regardless, that was TNA for you, and I honestly can't give it anything above a 5 out of 10. It was a perfectly okay show. And it seems like next week's show is gonna be what I wanted tonight's show to be. You're gonna have Team 3D there. They never just returned tonight, but they're gonna have some involvement next week. We're gonna have a Leon Slater match. Hopefully Mustafa Ali is there. He probably will be. We will probably see Trick Williams there. So it seems like, you know, next week is gonna be the show that tonight should have been, which sucks because it's a live episode. It should have been a lot bigger, but most of the matches tonight just didn't feel important. But yeah, at least that gives you a reason to tune into my next week's review of TNA, which I do every single week along with NXT and Evolve, and potentially SmackDown depending on how tomorrow turns out. But yeah, I hope you liked this video. Please like, subscribe. I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye, everyone.